He used to give lectures and sermons on after World War II and Roosevelt and also MacArthur. And he said, we all in Japan, we all called Harry Truman, we all called him Dirty Harry Truman. He said, when the movie came out, Dirty Harry, we thought everybody in Japan thought they'd make a movie about Dirty Harry Truman.
Honestly, I mean, he didn't care.
They hated Truman. But, the tragedy is those bombs were built on the ground, and Hiroshima and Nagasaki were not bombed for that reason, because it would have destroyed the trigger and they would never have a detonation there. So when the time came, they dropped their magnesium flash devices laced with uranium plutonium and then detonated on the ground, created the whole Cold War hoax, killed tens of thousands of Japanese, which they hate us for today.
Yep. There was no reason for it.
When their own Japanese high command was in on it, Hirohito was in on it, they were all high Masons. All the daimyo, all the Japanese lords involved in this were all Masonic, subject to the Jesuits.
Well, an interesting point. I want to jump ahead to what we have left as far as presidents who get attempted. And that is, the Japanese had to know that if they entered a war with the United States, it was not going to be a good thing. And so therefore, we are very removed from the Asian mindset, probably from all the peoples on the earth. We just kind of don't get it with them. But also, they knew, and they must have been traitors in their own government that said, we're going to do this because we have to do this. This is what we're supposed to do.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly right. And I have a book on that. It's called The Japanese Imperial... Hold just one second.
Sure. You're coming back, I hope.
2-volume set. Japanese Imperial Conspiracy by David Bergamini. And it shows all the whole conspiracy in Japan, how the Knights of Malta were involved in the causing of that war in Japan. Japanese didn't want to go to war with the U.S. Of course, they couldn't stand the U.S. because that wicked Commodore Perry under Pierce came in with the American gunboats and opened up Japan to the west when the Japanese had kicked the white man out, and rightfully so, for 250 years. From 1614 to 1868, and that is known as the Ito period in Japanese art and history. And that's when they had their highest art form, that's when they had their highest peace, that's when they advanced tremendously, and so that's called the Ito period. I saw it in the Birmingham Museum of Art. And they had the Shogun, the samurai outfit there, and they had all the tremendous artwork, all during the Edo period when the Jesuits were expelled from Japan.
Well, the thing is, even in our history books, Eric, we saw these, paintings in our history books and a little text saying Admiral Peary opens up. What was it? Who was it again?
Yeah, Commodore Perry.
Commodore Perry goes in and opens up Japan. I'm going, maybe they don't want to be opened up.
They don't want to be opened up.
And they have a right not to.
They have the right not to. They have the right to be racially Japanese. They have a right to their own culture, and they have a right to keep the white man out, the black man out, the Chinese, anybody they don't want in their country, they have the right to keep them out. That's part of national sovereignty. Oh, no. The Jesuits used what was going to become the Holy Roman 14th Amendment American Empire after the war they were fomenting to open up Japan. Japan really didn't want to do it. And from then on, and they assassinated the emperor. He was 36 years of age, Emperor Komi. And his son, then they made him the emperor after that, and they destroyed the Tokugawa shogunate, which had existed since the early 1600s to 1868, and that was, the Jesuits are very much like the samurai. The shogun is the Jesuit general. He works on behalf, as the shogun works on behalf of the emperor, the Jesuit general works on behalf of the pope. The Jesuits are the samurai warriors. And that same system they have incorporated into the order. But they did away with the Tokugawa shogunate. They had the emperor completely in their hands, and Japan has, from that time on, been totally under their control.
Quickly moving ahead, we'll pass by JFK. We've done enough on that. Everybody has. Okay. We'll revisit it again. But also, I believe what Coleman says about Nixon was that he wasn't worthy of assassination. They just destabilized him and kicked him to the curb. And then we go off to Gerald Ford, who had 3 attempts on him. And why would that be? Because there was a Rockefeller a heartbeat away. Would you agree?
I would say so. But we also have to remember, too, that Gerald Ford was a 33rd degree Freemason. He pardoned Nixon. He was also a Knight of Malta. So he's in with the big boys. And so I say the attempted assassination on Ford by Hinckley
Oh, no, Ford was by Squeaky Fromm. You know,
those idiots?
Yeah.
I say that.
That's right.
That was all, again, a token assassination attempt.
Right. A show.
To create sympathy for him so he could accomplish what he wanted to accomplish.
Which is hurting people on the golf course.
Right.
But you have to admit...
Tip O'Neill, good friend of Jesuit Temple Coadjutor Tip O'Neill, trustee of Boston College. Yeah.
And moving along, of course, the most undocumented attempt, and that is on Reagan, a very Rabin-like attempt where you have an MK Ultra shooter, which was a Hinckley, the son of campaign contributors to Daddy Bush, who probably is shooting live ammo. And, of course, I think that his bodyguard brought Reagan into the backseat, shot him with a planchette, and missed killing him by probably a milli.
Jerry Parr. Jerry Parr did the shooting.
And
the Jewish doctor saved his life.
And yet Rabin obviously was killed by his bodyguard.
That's right.
And lo and behold, what people forget is that Reagan did not like Bush, and Bush did not like Reagan, and he was forced to take Bush as a running mate late one very night during the Republican National Convention. Is that true?
That's correct.
And don't you find it interesting that Nancy wanted no part of shilling for Bush in the second election?
Yeah, isn't that something?
But don't you think that's
she knew.
She knew like Jackie knew.
Right, absolutely she knew. And then Reagan, the actor that he was, becomes an abject, total docile servant of Bush and the order for the rest of his presidency.
But you have
Bush, it's like Dick Cheney, who's the real president over that
feckless, smirking Ingerpoop.
That totally ignorant George Bush, who couldn't conduct a conversation to save his soul. Just like Dick Cheney is his master, Big Daddy Bush was Reagan's master.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, you know, Reagan probably was a really nice guy. Everybody loves him, but he did not make the policy. They attribute all this stuff to him, and he was not there.
That's right.
But I have
Iran-Contra, all Big Daddy Bush with William Casey.
Oh yeah. Two quick things. One, I have to laugh. You remember the old Dr. William Pierce from National Alliance?
Oh, yeah.
He always used to call Shrub this, feckless, smirking nincompoop, which is great, you know. But the thing is, you know, just like Clinton was glib, you know, could talk the pants off anybody, but he was a liar, and he probably did more damage to this country than Shrub is doing right now.
Oh, sure.
So we know it isn't Republican and Democrat. It is just whoever's there is not their own person or party.
They're all CFR. Okay? Bill Clinton was CFR, Dick Cheney CFR. They're all CFR. The CFR is the trusted third party of the Vatican to rule this country. If just like the son-in-law of FDR said, Curtis Dahl, if you don't have the CFR's approval, you're not a member, you're not going to be president. And so the whole issue of parties is nonsense.
Right.
They are both controlled by the Vatican through the Archbishop of New York, Edward Cardinal Egan, as he is advised by the Jesuits of Fordham University.
We're talking with Eric John Phelps. And Eric, we want to thank you so much for being with us today. We were supposed to do an hour. Somehow it morphed into 2 hours. And that's exactly okay with me. And we thank you for doing that. We'll be putting this on the web very shortly. Vatican Assassins is your book. VaticanAssassins.org is your website. And we thank you so much for this time. And can we do it again?
My pleasure, Liz. Anytime you like.
All right.
The Lord bless you, my dear friend. The Lord bless your listeners.
Until the next time, God bless you. Good night.